Yo, what's good, YouTube? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? Put ones in the chat if you guys can hear me. Perfect, thank you, thank you. So welcome to the stream. Today I'm replacing Champ. Champ is currently in school, so on Tuesdays I'll be streaming, and today we have a couple of guest streamers. We have Jisifu on here with us. He'll be covering Clover for us, and then we have Neutron and the Lump. If you guys are on the Discord, you guys would know them. They'll be helping me out with the ticker requests and covering everything. So let's get started off first. Is the music a little too loud? Can you guys hear the music? Is it loud? Sounds good, sounds good. All right, so let's get started. Bitcoin. So I want to go ahead and touch up on Bitcoin. We're gonna go ahead and do BTC, Litecoin. After we do Litecoin, I will be covering I'll go over Link, we'll go over the general market, then from there I'll pass the stream over to Jisifu. He'll be covering He'll be covering Clover Health, and then from there we'll go over some of the ongoing trades. I have then I'll also be going over my watch list. So I did release a watch list about a week and a half ago on YouTube on my own channel, Finance. It will be in the link in the description down below. But essentially I dropped a watch list and a lot of them have gone up since then. I will be dropping weekly watch lists almost every week on my own channel. Unless there's a week where I don't see anything good, and then at that point I wouldn't be dropping anything. But if I do see some good tickers, I will be dropping it on the watch list. And then from there we'll go ahead and do ticker requests. So most of the stream would probably be doing ticker requests. So to get started here, in terms of Bitcoin, we had a nice bull run. We had some divergence right here played out, but then there was some news. There was a news right here that Bitcoin was supposed to be pumping up ahead of El Salvador's adoption of Bitcoin. And I guess this was getting pumped up on Reddit and on Twitter and other social medias. Apparently they were going to be buying $30 worth of Bitcoin. And essentially what has happened is that someone or market makers went ahead and dropped and sold before everyone could pump, and it literally dropped all the way down to about 42,800, and it went ahead at the end of the day, reclaimed over the 200-day moving average. So as of right now, Bitcoin isn't looking too good. However, it is holding this 200-day moving average. Personally for myself, as long as it could hold the 200-day moving average, it could be possible opportunity for a dip buy, but we don't know what would happen. And right now the MACD has crossed over to red and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. So the second candle for the daily candle has opened up and the MACDs just keep getting worse and worse. So right now the key level is the 200-day moving average. If it cannot hold this 200-day moving average, I could see us retesting around this 44 level. And then if we don't break that, if we don't hold on to that 44 level, we have that 41 level. So next I want to cover is Litecoin. Before I go into all the details, I just want to know if you guys want to just put either a 1, a 2, or a 3 in the chat. So if you guys are new to the chat or new to the stream and you're not really good with technicals, if you guys want to put a 1 in the chat. If you are decently good with technicals, put a 2 in the chat. And if you know a lot about technicals, then put a 3. Basically what I want to do is, if I have a lot of new people here, I'm going to kind of go over all the technicals and explain what like divergence is as I'm showing you guys what it is, as I'm showing you guys on the chart. So if you guys just want to let me know so I could basically either slow it down or speed things up. We got Sunny over here putting 69. Thanks, Cheta Cheng. Thanks. Hat. I don't have any maple syrup. Even though I'm from Canada, I don't really eat maple syrup or drink maple syrup at all, to be honest. Looks like Champ posted a vote. So if you guys want me to explain some of the technicals as we go along, so as I'm explaining some things, if you guys want me to go over the technicals, I will. So we got Nick putting a 0. All right, so we do have a couple ones and a few twos. So what I'll do is I'll explain the technicals briefly. I won't go too much into details with them. If you are stuck, let me know. I do have the chat opened up right now. So if you guys don't understand something, just let me know. So in terms of Litecoin, we have here, Champ alerted this. And essentially what he saw was inverse head and shoulders. So you have one shoulder, the head, and then you have a higher right shoulder. So Florida Nick, for the ticker request, I will go over everything at once we finish with Clover and the request. It won't be that long. We won't be going into too much details, but we will be doing that soon. I'll let you know once to drop the tickers. So we went ahead and broke out of this head and shoulders. It went ahead and took off. And essentially with this whole Bitcoin drop, it tanked and it went all the way down to 157.84 approximately. If I'm not mistaken, it did not get stop hunted. So it was near to get stop hunted, but we're still okay for now. In terms of the chart, MACD officially crossed over to red. As of right now, there's not too much that I'm seeing. It is below the 200-day moving average and below this supply line right here. So we would need this to go ahead and break the supply line, possibly retest it and go back up. However, this all comes down to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin doesn't hold this 200-day moving average, Litecoin will probably follow with it and keep dumping down. If Bitcoin could hold this 200-day moving average and start moving back up, then I do think that Litecoin will end up breaking the supply line. Hey, shout out to Florida Nick, yo, thank you for the support right there, the $4.99. Thanks for the tip. What did you want me to view again? AVGO, I got you. Can we get some vibes for Nick? Can we get some vibes in the chat for Nick? GG with the vibes. Marksim with the vibes. Hey, there's all the vibes. Let's go. All right. So in terms of the chart right here, let me see what I see. If you ignore this island, you have possible divergence. Yep. So you make a higher high. And yep, so we have divergence over here. Let me see. Okay, so as of right now, we do have divergence on both the MACD and the RSI on the daily chart. From the looks of it, it has played out. It broke out. It's retesting this this resistance and it's turning it into a support. And as you can see today, it did retouch that resistance line, turning it into support. And it looks like a lot of buyers came in and pushed it back up. So as of right now, it is looking good to me. What I would like to see is it continue holding this 490 and basically reclaiming back up. The 490 is a key level. It looks like it did get a lot of buyers right here. So as long as it could hold this 490, then I could see this up move. And I do believe actually there was a bunch of price targets that came in for AVGO. Let me get that up for you. 1 second. So in terms of the calls, I remember we were talking about that. Let me pull up all that information for the calls and I'll let you know what I think about it. Obviously, it's not financial advice, but I could basically show you what I'm seeing. Give me one moment. I'm just pulling this up. So you're saying you got some at 71 cents and then the rest were at $1.01. Okay. So September 24th. Here, let me pull this up in here for you guys. I don't know if you could see it too well. But you said you got the $5.40. Okay, let me see. Okay, so one thing I don't really like too much about it is the spread. The spread is huge. You have a 20-cent bid and $1 ask, and I think we even went over this in the chat. There's a huge spread between them two. Volume has picked up compared to yesterday, but still the volume is extremely low. Open interest is very low. In terms of the actual options chain, I personally don't like it. That's just me because the spread is too big. And a lot of these have high spreads. Like, look at the difference, a 5-cent to $1.70 spread. The spreads are extremely high and the volume is extremely low. So even if you were to try to get out, it would be a little hard because there's only 157 options or contracts that are being exchanged throughout the day. So personally, getting into these type of contracts, I would not like them. Obviously, you could do whatever you want to do at the end of the day, but that's just my personal opinion. If I was in your situation, I would personally try to get out. Obviously, this is not financial advice. If the stock does go high, then these definitely could move. These options could move up, but with this huge spread, anything could literally happen. It's really hard to predict what could happen, even with the stock price going up, because of the huge spread. There's very little demand, and people that are selling high. It's not really worth it. But I could show you the AVGO's price targets. So recently you got a buy at $89. Only 44% when loss rate. It's not too high, but he put an $89 rating. You have a lot of them that came in are extremely high. So you do have a lot of price targets, but I want to make sure that you know that these price targets. Oh, sorry, hold on. This is TD. My apologies. It didn't go through. My apologies. Okay, so 590. So you have a 590 buy rating, September 2nd, and you have another one of 550. You have 580, 590. So if you look at the average is about 571. But what I want you to know is that these price targets are a 12-month price target. You got options in September, so anything could happen. These are just targets of within 12 months. So really, at the end of the day, it's your choice on what you want to do, but I've basically given you my take on it. Price targets are looking nice compared to where the stock price is. There's about a 14% upside according to the price target, but this is a 12-month target. But yeah, so the lump. You can't read Canadian. Canadian, it's English, my friend. All right, so back to LTC. So as I mentioned, it all comes down to what happens with Bitcoin. And then we have Link right here. Link out of all of them is, so we had divergence right here on the MACD for the daily, nothing on the RSI, but Link is one of the few that still held the green candle, and it is also holding the 200-day moving average. So if you are in Link, I know that you guys probably hit your price targets and got out, but for those of you that didn't, it all comes down to the 200-day moving average. Same thing. Pretty much all cryptos are looking the same. They're all at the 200-day moving average. Some of them are below. For this one, just needs to hold the 200-day moving average, and Bitcoin needs to start moving back up if you want Link to hit that $31.40 level and above. So Vishal, for the tool that I'm using TradingView. So if you go on TradingView, you'd be able to do all the charts and everything. And then for the price targets, I was using TD. So I have TD web broker. It's a Canadian platform, but you could see all the price targets and search up everything on there for analysts. So in terms of the market, so right here, the futures for the S&P, I have it charted a little differently than Champ does. Obviously, you could have one chart and you could have literally 5 different views of one single chart. I have here the slope, and it has continued since April 2020. The slope, it has been holding consistently. You see 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times. Every single time it touches this area, it bounces back up. So how I look at it is pretty much from yesterday until today, not much has changed. But if it does come back down, I would love to see it bounce off of this. If it doesn't bounce off of this, the next area would be approximately the 200-day moving average. No, you could probably get one right here. So you could have a support right here, and it was a resistance right here. So this area. But like I said, I would like to see it hold this area and then possibly hit the top. So this is the S&P. We had a very small red day, candles closed. Nothing has really changed from yesterday, still looking bullish. As long as it could hold that 43.63 level, then we're okay. MACD is starting to weigh down. There isn't any bearish technicals on the MACD. Nothing really has changed. So that's pretty much it for the S&P. Then we have here the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, we are holding, nothing pretty much has changed. We're holding this supply line. We have here a demand line. It's right in the middle. What I had noticed is that we could be possibly having some bearish diversions, but it's still way too early to even call anything. It is starting to weigh down. As you see right here, we have a high, but a low right here. And on the MACD, it does the opposite. So it's still way too early. As you guys can see, every time like it weighs back down, if the market looks good, it's going to start moving right back up. So that's why I'm saying it's still way too early to call, but it's still something I'm keeping an eye out on. So if it does end up playing out, what I'm going to see is this come back down right here and possibly bounce at this level, if not on the slope right here on the demand line. And yeah, you are right, Chetta, we do have a doji right here. So that's what I'm seeing for the NASDAQ, but like I said, it's still too early to call anything. It's just in the middle of the range as of right now. AREC is still looking good. AREC MACD starting to weigh down, but it's holding this 200-day moving average. It broke out. Champ called it down here. It's been playing out, broke out, holding the 200-day moving average, even though we had a red day. It's still looking good. Nothing much has changed for AREC. And okay, so something I want to bring up to you guys, and every time I post my charts, I have, let me see. So I have these harmonics right here. So a lot of people have been asking me or DMing me about them. It's called Harmonics Pattern Live. What I want to tell you guys is that it is often incorrect. I've used it to help me spot the W shapes and the M shapes, but I would not use it for, I wouldn't use it for, like, it's not something guaranteed. So if you look at this, it says right here that there's a Gartley on the daily chart. But when you draw it up, it does not match a Gartley. The numbers are off. So as you guys could tell, this is invalid. So this Gartley right now is invalid, and I would ignore that. As of right now, we had a pullback, 0.69%, the lump's favorite number. But as of right now, nothing really has changed. You could argue that this is a resistance right here. You bounced off of it multiple times and even bounced up on it multiple times. So nothing much has changed really on this as well. I would like to see it hold this area. If not, then we have here this demand line. It just can't break this area. So what I want to go ahead and do is go over some of my watch list. So I've posted a video. So yeah, Rooster, you could definitely adjust your tolerance, but in terms of how I looked at it, it's not accurate enough for me, at least personally. Okay, so I've posted a video on my channel. I've done a watch list, and essentially we've talked about SOFI. So a lot of people have been watching SOFI. There was a harmonic pattern right here. It started playing out, and then earnings happened. So fundamentally, I love this company, but in terms of the earnings, they messed up with their earnings because of the loans. So the student loans, people weren't paying their student loans with the government because they don't have to pay until January 2022. So SOFI was getting a beating on that. Plus they had to pay a one-time fee to Shamath SPAC company who brought them public. It was a one-time thing, and essentially they would have had a negative 0.5 cent earnings, but essentially because of that, they literally got destroyed with the earnings, and the stock crashed with Wish and other companies going down with them. What I said with this one is 1474 is a perfect area to claim. This used to be a demand line and essentially broke down, started coming back up, and we had divergence on both the MACD and as well as the RSI. And it is currently playing out right now. There is a gap to fill until 1670. So how I am playing this right now, I got in at about 1480-ish, right under that white line. How I'm playing it is either gap to fill, or I could go ahead and target around this area. And the reason why I target this area is because it was a resistance right here, sort of a support right here, and a resistance right here and here as well. So this is the area that I'm personally targeting. If you are feeling extremely bullish, you could definitely target that $20 mark. Okay, the next one I also mentioned was ChargePoint. I was keeping an eye out on ChargePoint. For here, we have divergence on the RSI. We had also divergence on the MACD, so same thing, upwards, and then the stock did the opposite. It broke the supply line, broke out, retested. This is a perfect entry where I got in. I didn't get in fully. I only went like a quarter of my position because I wanted to average in closer to support. And now it's slowly starting to play out. Target right here would be just below the 200-day moving average, or if you want, you could also target the top right here of the supply line. So those are the two areas you could target. So Neo, this one was on my watch list, and I know Champ also has this on as a alert. So divergence right here, got in a position. So it had a harmonic, was looking for a double bottom. As you could see, like if you look at the pattern, it did call a Gartley as well. So sometimes this could be accurate, but a lot of times it isn't. So always trace over it and use your fib levels as well. So essentially it was looking for a double bottom, but instead of a double bottom, it made a higher low, and it started to play out. And essentially my personal target is 45.94, or you could even get out a little bit under the 200-day moving average if it doesn't break. I honestly don't remember what Champ's area was, but you could also target 48.96 and then 54.96. So those are the areas that I'm looking at. We had FSR. So Fisker, I have it charted a little differently than everyone else. Obviously, everyone knows that 1450 level. What I had it is a supply line. The guy. Thank you for the tip. You want me to cover clown? You think it broke out? It's not showing up. I think they took it off. They took down clown. sorry, lump. Can't chart it for you. But I think it was like 100% upside. All right. I'll give you back your $5. I'll give you back your $5, or you can request something else. So anyway, so Fisker, I have it charted differently. I have here the supply line, and then you have a demand line. How I'm looking at it, so there was divergence on the MACD. How I'm looking at it is I want to see it continue bouncing off this level, break that 1450, either touch the 200-day moving average and come back down, or hit this. And I would want to have it make a decision somewhere here. If it goes to the upside, then you could target 1740 and then $20.15, give or take. If it goes to the downside, this is when I'm going to go ahead and put a lot of my money in terms of my retirement account, sell whatever shares I have, and I would start buying Fisker shares at the $12 mark, and then again somewhere at the $9.78. So ZTO was another one I've mentioned in my video. There was triple divergence right here. So 1, 2, 3, and double on the RSI. So regular divergence on the RSI, and took a position right here. And essentially this just gapped up and just wouldn't stop going. Had my target. So I drew these lines basically targeting specific areas. So targeted the support right here. I also looked at it and targeted the resistance right here. There was like a little mini resistance right here. I personally look at intraday resistance as well, and I could cash out sometimes, but this just kept taking off. I cashed out about right here. I could have held on to it much longer, but it just went crazy. Zoom was another one I had on my watch list. Didn't take a position on this one, but we do have a bat. It dropped off of earnings, formed a bat. What I'm looking at for possible entry is because I didn't get in, I would like to see it bounce off of this and come right back down for a double bottom, and that's where I'm looking for position. About a 5% stop loss and 15% target. Rooster says he also has Fisker differently. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times you'll have one chart and we're all looking at the same chart, but like 5 people will have it all charted differently, and doesn't mean one person's right or one person's wrong. Next one I had that went crazy was apps. I got in essentially right about here, and essentially gapped up. I think there was some news that they were going to make it onto like the S&P small caps or something like that. And it just went crazy and essentially bounced back down from the 200-day moving average. And then EVGO, I believe Killer, I forgot your name, Killer 10 something like that. You requested this to me on Twitter, so I had this kept on my watch list as well. We had the divergence right here on the MACD as well as the RSI. And then from there, we had a supply line. And it broke out, retested, started going back up, but I don't know exactly what happened today, and then just went straight down. So that's pretty much it for my watch list. If you guys want to subscribe to me, my YouTube channel is MM Finance. It's going to be in the description down below, and then I will be dropping, like I said, a weekly watch list for you guys. What I want to go ahead and do now is essentially talk about the ongoing trades. Then from there, I'll pass it off to one of the guests to go ahead and talk about Clover, and then from there we will go ahead and we'll go ahead and do the ticker requests. Just give me 1 second. Is my camera still freezing? Do you guys see me, or does my camera freeze here and there? Okay, so Champ just wants me to skip the ongoing trades. Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll have my colleague here talking about Clover. If you want to just go ahead and share your screen, I'll go ahead and connect you over here. Give me 1 moment. So Allison, I will go over docs with you for you. Just wait for the ticker request and I'll go ahead and do it for you, okay? Okay, so Jisifu, you want to go ahead and talk about Clover? You want to take over from here? Yeah, I hear you perfectly. Yeah, we hear you. Can you guys hear Jisifu or no? Yeah, so chat's saying they can hear you. You can take over from here. Oh, they can't hear you, okay. Wait, hold on, they said they can't hear you. They can't hear you. 1 second. Okay, can you guys hear him now? We have some people saying yes and some people saying no. Is it a yes or no? Because I'm seeing some people say yes and some people say no. Can you hear him? Talk now? You guys can't hear? I don't think they can hear you. No, no one hears you. Okay. Okay, in this case, I'll just go ahead and do Clover myself, and then from there we'll just do the ticket request because I don't think they can hear you. It'll be a little bit harder. I think we could just save it for the next stream. Give me 1 more second. Let me try one more thing. If it doesn't work in 1 or 2 minutes, then I'll just continue from here. Okay, do you want to try now? Jisifu, you want to go ahead and try now? Yeah, I'll turn off the music completely. Do you guys hear him or no? Can you guys hear him? Okay, in this case then, I think what I'm just gonna go ahead and do is proceed with the stream. He'll probably come in for next week to go ahead and talk about what he wants to talk about. So just gonna go ahead and start with Clover, because if you guys can't hear him, I'll just go ahead and do it. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue with the stream, since clearly we can't hear him. 1 second. You guys able to hear me good or no? Can you guys hear me? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, so we had Clover right here. Champ posted an alert on this. Said he saw composite operator right here. Wyckoff forming. We had divergence, and it has finally confirmed. So give me 1 second. It had finally confirmed, started playing out, and essentially we had one huge green candle, broke out that 990 level, broke out that 200 moving average, and now we're at $10.80. And I believe after hours it did even go up some more. Yeah, so $10.96. We're almost at $11 right now. So essentially Clover went ahead and broke out. As of right now, how I see it, we do have a gap to fill at 1165, give or take. So this could be an area to target. Let me just draw this right here. About 1160 you could target. I believe there is a very small gap to fill at 1229. And then from there, we do have that 1321 area. So what I would like to see is to hit that 1160 level, break out of it, and continue to the 1321 area. Obviously, no one knows what's going to happen, but that is my short take on Clover as of right now. I know Champ will definitely go into further details with you guys, and what I want to go ahead and do is if you want to just go ahead and drop your ticker requests, and we'll go from there. So if you guys want to just go ahead and drop your ticker requests, and I will go ahead and cover stuff for you.
Yo.
So you want me to join Zoom?
Hey, maybe they hear me now. All right, great, awesome.
Can you guys hear him?
No?
No. Join the Zoom, join the Zoom.
Hear me now? No. That's right. I think they hear me. Okay. I think there's a little bit of a lag.
All right, so Jisifu can take over from here if you guys could hear him.
Yeah. If as long as you guys can hear me, I can go ahead and just do something real quick, so then we can. Audio is low though.
All right, I'll turn off the music for you guys. One moment.
All right. All right. So real quick, yeah. Um,
Okay, you should be able to hear him a lot louder now. Talk.
yeah. So thank you, Mehdi, for giving that rundown. Uh, one thing that I just want to quickly point out on Clover is that, um, yeah. Do you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. So there's a little bit of lag, but basically all I really wanted to discuss were here when you pay attention to MACD, be sure to uh, have crossings on your MACD to kind of
Sorry, 1 sec. Your sound died. Your sound died. Yo, you cut. You cut. 1 sec. Yeah.
is an indication of how seriously you should treat it into the future. So when you look at this as kind of like a hook and go, you know, I guess a simple risk reward day trade that you can kind of look at would be to basically put that stop loss right underneath that pitch. And it's not very, you can't really be sure on when to execute this if you were to do a day trade on options. But it's one of those things where you want to assign at least that risk reward ratio, right? As Champion Vibe always likes to talk about. Now, I think one thing finally is this is something that I kind of want to talk about kind of in the beginning, was that there is some kind of a difference between looking at Clover as kind of like a long-term investment versus a short-term trade. And this is how you should kind of look into risk-reward ratio in the same way. Now, an investor would, of course, kind of look at risk-reward in terms of a very, very long time frame and max, loss of, all the way down to zero, right? But the upside, of course, has to be asymmetric. And here would be the asymmetric that we're talking about. Champion Vibe has been calling Wyckoff accumulation this entire time, and boom, right? I think today we've reached phase E on high volume. Next thing, I don't know. Let me just go ahead to the chat and see if there's any questions. Because something that I might have planned for today was I don't know, to perhaps look into unusual options activities so you can kind of detect sweeps at different time points throughout the day. They all seem to just be at 3 days to expiry. So these are very short-term plays. And you can kind of take a look at these yourself for looking for unusual option sweeps. But but going back to this here, this I know a lot of people in the community are like trying to think about planning on some kind of a way to manage this momentum up, right? And how to do this in kind of like the most responsible way. And the thing is, it's very difficult to tell the right kind of story for Clover unless you get down to the fundamentals, because that's the kind of story that uh, people with a lot of capital are thinking about at the moment. And Clover being an AI healthcare disruptor, you have to look at the total market of what Clover is in terms of taking market share from the incumbents. Today, Clover would be at $10 a share, and it's a tiny little baby compared to United Health and all that stuff. Now, but that also means that Clover has a lot of room to grow. This is maybe a calculation that I made. It's not necessarily a true DCF of any sorts, but the basic idea behind here is like you can kind of put in some assumptions. Let's say, so when we do like a stream example, we could say that kind of like the monthly rate per head for one of the members or lives under management is about like 1,200 per month, and then putting in growth rate, you can kind of gain get a sense of sensitivity for the. Oh, sorry, let me change that real quick. Yeah. So you can put in any kind of a new type of growth assumption, and the price can change very dramatically. So the real key thing here is that Clover is at the moment, from its recent quarter performance, it's year over year 140% growth year over year. So how much it can maintain that growth is going to be something that you guys have to assess yourself, right? From a fundamental standpoint, and also from a technical standpoint, manage your risk, right? There's yeah, precisely. So that's basically what I wanted to cover for today. Mehdi, do you want me to cover anything more, or do you want to move on to ticket requests?
Up to you. If you have more things to talk about for CLOV, then definitely you can. If not, then we can just move on to ticket requests. Yeah, all right, sounds good. All right, guys, so if you guys want to go ahead and drop me your ticker requests, and then we could go on from there. So any tickers that you guys want me to review?
Mehdi, I don't think we hear you on the trajectory. Yeah. Well, so let me just take a look at maybe the chat and see if I can answer any questions. Problem with multiple of you. So do you guys still hear me, by the way? And do you guys have any questions?
Okay, so it looks like we're just gonna.
Well, so here's one thing. I can send this Excel sheet to you guys, and you guys can kind of play around with it, because and that way, let me also send this to Mehdi over to the stream, so then that way you guys can kind of play around with it. Yeah, and Mehdi, feel free to take over whenever you want to, but one thing that I wanted to kind of play around with is just TradingView. So for people in the CLOV community, it's a neat tool. You can play around with it as much as you'd like. You can make rainbows and colors, and all the things that Crayola Capital loves. Now, one of the things that I probably would like to explore while using these types of charts or charting tools is, everything has a purpose. For example, the Wyckoff spring, this serves a purpose as kind of like an anchor for future price movements. So traders can basically have signals for how range can be established as well as maintained to just have some rationality. Like usually, and this is just my opinion and bias, and this is just not, this is not in any way financial advice, but normally price action is supposed to tell a story, right? And the better storyteller, or the story that makes the most sense, typically wins out in the end. And basically, what the story is that's being kind of told is, okay, Clover is going to be let go from its reins, and the question is, how bounded can it be and still maintain, not like pure chaos where it like shoots up the next day, right? And I mean, this is just a story. This is an interpretation, and it's best for every technical analyst or trader just needs to come up with tools and find ways to tell stories, right?
Okay, so from here, I think Rooster had one question about an insider.
You sold at the spring to I lose my trader card, the guy. Well, no. I mean, here's the thing. Like, one of the reasons why I respect Champion Vibe so much is that he loses on trades all the time, but he wins more. He bats better than 50%, and the key thing is that he picks himself off and dusts himself off and continue and bat some more. So that's probably the most important thing about being a trader is being able to get back up again. And Malcolm Gladwell's book, where he kind of talks about like the current president or the CEO of Goldman Sachs, like he started just getting into a cab with a Goldman Sachs executive and just talking about how he's a great options trader, right? But really he didn't know anything about options trading, and then he was also dyslexic, so it took him like 20 hours just to read a book about options, and then it turned out he was actually really good at options because being somebody who has like the courage to go in to share a taxi with exec and just kind of play that tune of I'm an expert options trader, and just having the ability to withstand rejection and all that stuff. That's all good. That's all part of being a good trader, right? Drop those ticker requests. Yeah.
Okay, so let me go ahead and just share my screen right here. So I have the lump who's going to be, I guess I don't know if the lump's coming through, but I have Neutron who's going to help me out.
Any other questions?
Can you guys hear me?
What up? What up?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Do we have the lump in the chat?
The lump, are you coming through? Keep dropping your ticker requests. I have taken almost all of them down, so keep dropping them and I'll be adding more on here. So for these indicators, I'll show you what I have on here.
Okay.
And
yeah, no problem. See, the problem I think is I can't hear them.
Can you guys hear me in Neutron, by the way? Cheddar, Rooster, can you guys hear me? The guy, can you guys hear me? Okay, so you hear everyone else, but you can't hear the lump. Okay, the lump hasn't joined soon.
No, this is Neutron.
Okay. Okay, so I have some tickers down. The last one I have is from the guy SUNW. Is there anything else you guys want me to review? Okay, so let's get started. So to answer your questions, the indicators I use, the main one I use is the 200-day moving average. I use the harmonics pattern live, helps me find some harmonics, but like I said, it's not really that useful. A lot of the times it isn't correct. I have something called candles, kind of gives you the names of all the candles and stuff like that. And you can kind of see if it's bullish or bearish, or if it's a neutral candle. I do use the 20, 50, and 200-day, helps me locate, you know, if there's a death cross or so yeah, I have that. And then the rest I pretty much don't use. I use the VWAP here and there for intraday trading, and then I have the Bollinger Bands on as well. So those are the main ones I use. There is something called support and resistance. It's not really accurate or that good, but I don't really use that. But those are pretty much, to answer your questions, the indicators. And I do see there are more being dropped. Let me go ahead and add some of them on here. So you had skills. We had ATOS, ASO, typos of TRIT, AEI. Probably won't be able to chart that one. Oh yeah, I do use EMA clouds as well. Do I have this on here? No, it looks like I took it off for something, but I do use the EMA clouds as well as an indicator. Don't really use it that often, but I do use it here and there. All right, and then we're doing AMD. If you guys do have any other tickers, you guys could put it in after I get through all these. So to start off with, let me see. So we have snow. It is forming a 200-day moving average. It is above that, so that is good. If you were to consider this island, then you do have divergence. If you don't consider this island, because I know some people ignore the little islands, some people do. If you do consider it, you do have divergence right now on both the MACD, on both the MACD and as well as the RSI. Currently it is playing out. Let me see if I could find some key levels for you. This one's a little hard to indicate, probably more of a zone. But you do have, it was a resistance at this point, support right here in this area. So it's most likely going to be a zone instead of a actual clear resistance line. Let me see. More like this. So this would be the resistance area. So essentially it has been playing out. I want to see this continue playing through. Most likely by the time it does reach, it's going to be oversold. and we might see a retracement coming back down. Definitely not a good area for entry, but if you have been playing it out since the 200-day moving average or prior, could be some good taking profit areas. Not financial advice, but most likely would come back down. All depends on what the market does and what happens. Looks like they did beat earnings. It's been playing out. This is a key area. It would need to break. If it does break, then the next level you have is about 350. And then after 350, then you could probably target about this area right here. So about 390. So as of right now, this was the key area that it needs to break. If not, then it's coming back down. Don't see any bearish technicals on the MACD. You could argue there is possible bearish diversions on the RSI, but nothing on MACD, nothing too serious as of right now. But like I said, key area for snow. So TLRY, TLRY. So it looks like I've already charted this ahead of time. Let's get rid of this. So it is below the 200-day moving average. So it is below the 200-day moving average. I have here syrup. You guys want to drop syrup in the chat or clown emojis? So I do have here the demand line right here, and we have pretty much a huge triangle. Essentially what needs to happen is it needs to either bounce down here and go back up and break this area. It looks like, yeah, we do have divergence on here on the daily chart. Right here. As well as the RSI. So you do have divergence on TLRY. Essentially, what we need to see is it needs to break this the supply line. I would need to see it break the supply line, retest, and go up from there. And then from there, you could possibly target the 200-day moving average, or you could target right about $18 mark, which would have been a support, and it would have been also a resistance around this area and right here. So this is pretty much it for TLRY. Not much else. All comes down to it breaking this triangle. We got a bunch of maple leaf flags going on in the chat. Okay, so the next one is work sport. Work sport, let me see. Do you see anything on here, Neutron? Okay, so you do have possible divergence right here. It has been playing out. Let me see. And as well as the RSI as well. So you do have it on the MACD and the RSI. It has been playing out. You do have a possible resistance at the 200-day moving average. So it would need to break the 200-day moving average. From there, you could target the gap fill at about $7.20, which you could also argue could also be a support / resistance right about here. It would probably be a little bit of more of a zone.
Yeah, I do actually see some stuff.
So this would be the target area. Preferably if you got in at a lower range, that would be better. Because we did have a huge 10% spike. So as of right now, it has gone up quite a lot for today. But if you did get in prior, then this would definitely be good to keep holding. You have the 200-day moving average that it needs to break, and then once it breaks, then you could target this purple box right here, which would also be the gap to fill. That's pretty much it for work sport. Okay, let me see. Next we have is MMAT.
Maybe you can draw a harmonic out of.
I don't know if there'd be a harmonic. I think it's too big. Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to draw harmonic with this. Yeah, there would be no way to draw this harm. I don't think you'd be able to. Unless Neutron, do you see a harmonic on here? But from the looks of it, I don't see it. There's no divergence on the daily chart. It is above the 200-day moving average. MMAT doesn't have too much that I'm seeing.
I think you could play with. So something I'm doing is I'm playing with the Fibonacci circle, where the center point is off of the top, and then you just bring it and drag it down to the to the current price, and you can kind of see that there's a trend line that's around the 1.618 Fibonacci circle.
But would you only be, you wouldn't want to only play fibs, right? You'd want to play more than just fibs. That's the thing. This chart doesn't look really that interesting to me. Doesn't mean it's not going to go up. I do see you could possibly draw a demand line right here as long as I keep holding this demand line. Other than that, there's not really much that I see. It's above the 200-day moving average, which is good. Yeah, not really much that I see here in terms of this chart. Just needs to keep holding this demand line and then stay above the 200-day moving average. You want to just mute your mic, Matt, because it's echoing. Okay, next we have here is charge point. So charge point, I've already covered this earlier on the stream. It broke the supply line, went up, retested, and now it's playing back up. I've talked about it. We have divergence on the MACD. You have divergence on the RSI. It is playing out right now. My personal target would be about the 200-day moving average, like I mentioned, which also would be a resistance area a little bit above here, and would have been a support somewhere right here. But pretty much not much that I see in terms of charge point. Pretty much something I would day trade. I would just like to see this keep playing out as long as the MACD could keep getting stronger and stronger. And then you could also target this area right here, the 2674 area, which, like I said, is a support right here, would have been a support in this area, and then a resistance right here. So this is definitely a good area. Next thing is INDI. So INDI looks like it's been on a nice run. So you're saying MMAT has a possible deep crab on the weekly? So where do you see the Rooster? Where do you see the possible deep crab starting from where? I honestly don't see it. But yeah, so for Indy, it has a crazy run right now. I don't think getting in at this time it would be optimal. If you guys could see, it's been up 37% in the last few days, in the last 50 days. That's the weekly. The daily, not much I see on this chart. Oh, look who we have here. This guy just came in to interrupt and that's it, eh? You don't want to take over? So for Indy, you have definitely a good supply line, a demand line right here. Bidders keep coming in every time it touches this line. Not much that I see in terms of the actual chart. It is getting a little bit oversold. Good area would be right about here. So look at this. On here is a pretty strong resistance. So you had it right here, here, sold off and the candle closed right under it. And look, we sold off today right at the top of here and it came back down. So pretty much what I would like to see is I would like to see this keep playing out and it would need to break off. But you'd probably get a little back test because it is getting oversold on the daily. So XELA, this one I had it charted. I have here supply line. It is playing out. We had divergence and the MACD turned green. It's been confirmed on the MACD. It's holding this demand line right now. What I would like to see it is retest it and continue going back up and then basically making a decision around here. Either it breaks above at 331 or it'll come back down, but target area would be 331 if you were playing it from the bottom here at 215. But like I said, it just has to hold this demand line. As soon as it breaks below this demand line, then I would probably decide to get out. So ENDP. This one looks like it has been beaten down. Nothing on the MACD. Oversold on the RSI, but no divergence either. It's making a new low. It's literally at a break or make right now. So look at this. That 196 area, or maybe just a little bit above 196, would be like about $2 would be an area that I'd want to hold.
Y'all need to join the Discord.
So yeah, that $2 area is what I would want to hold. $2 it would need to hold. I would love to see this play out in terms of a gap up. The MACD is slowly turning into green, but as of right now, there's not much that's going on in this chart. Outside of the gap fill and holding the $2 area, that's pretty much it. Anything below this $2 area is not really good because you'd be making new all-time lows and we don't know how low it could get. But that's pretty much it for ENDP. We have AREC, American Resources. This one as well. So this one is at a break or make area. There's not much going on terms of the MACD or the RSI, but you could argue this was a resistance, and it was also a support. So it would need to break that 245 area. Once it breaks that 245, then you have the 289 or the 200-day moving average that it would also need to break. As of right now, this is a break or make area, but nothing as of yet. No clear indication of it being bullish or bearish. But yeah, so that 245 is...
Solo.
We can check solo if you'd like. Neutron, you see a harmonic on here? All right, so for solo, we do have divergence playing out. It turned red for a short period of time. And you could also say that this is also divergence if you don't ignore the MACD. It is slowly playing out. For solo, I would have that 317 area or just a little bit lower than that as a key area. Essentially, like you see, it's been a resistance area before. I would need to hold this 317 level. If this divergence continues playing out, then your next target, you could put about $4.46, give or take. And then you have also the 200-day moving average, which would also be another possible mini resistance areas in the past. But that's pretty much it for solo. We went over this. So SONN, this stock looks like it's been beaten down. It's at new all-time lows. Not really much you could do with the stock this beaten down. You do have a huge gap to fill to $1.09. Let me see. Nothing on the MACD, nothing on the RSI. Just needs to hold on to that 54 cent mark. If it goes below 55 cents, really not a good stock to hold on to because it could keep making lower lows and we don't know how low it could go, right? Next we have is SUNW. No divergence on the MACD. If you ignore this little candle, then you could say, yes, there is divergence. And in that case, I don't even think it really played out. SUNW would need to hold this $7.10 area. So a lot of these stocks are at a make or break area. Just a little lower right here. So $7.03, give or take, would be a make or break area. It looks like it is waning down. As long as it doesn't confirm red, then we're okay. Needs to hold $7.03, and then you could possibly target about $9.30. But the issue is there's not really much outside of this divergence, only if you ignore this MACD. But targets could be about 924, and then you could also target the 200-day moving average. So skills, I've traded this multiple times. Let me see. Skills is literally also at a make or break area. If you see, I believe it did close right above the support / resistance. As long as it could break out, this is still looking pretty decent. If you don't, yeah, there's no divergence on here. Let me see. Do you see a harmonic on skills, Neutron?
Hey, Mehdi, go look at Zoom.
These guys are trolling. I don't think this would make anything, to be honest. Yeah, this is not a valid harmonic. Nothing that I see right now on skills. But yeah, so for skills right now, not much that I see. It just needs to hold that 1254 area, key area. As long as it's above 1254, then it's okay. Next areas that you could possibly target would be... You could target about 1822, support, was a resistance once, twice, possibly 3 times. So yeah, this would be the next area that you could target. But as of right now, not much that's going on for skills.
Honestly, we've got a bearish deep crab on the 15-minute. And I would expect you would see 1143 before you tested 12 and some change.
Yeah.
And after that, you'll probably test $11, and that's on the 50-minute.
You got that W form type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I
deep
see.
crab.
But in terms of like the larger time frame, really, there's not much. So if it doesn't hold that 1254, then it's pretty much a goner. ATOS is one that I'm also holding as of right now. My areas that I could just probably remove these. Essentially, I was just dip buying them, and I had certain entries at certain areas. But essentially, you had divergence right here. You had a Gartley, and then it started playing out. Just needs to hold that $3.43 level, in my opinion. But I think the harmonic's no longer valid because it touched that 200-day moving average. So if it doesn't bounce above that 343, next area would be the 200-day moving average. But below this area, I'm probably going to just cut my losses. Would love to see this bounce off of here and just continue going back up. But that's pretty much it for ATOS. Not too much. But you could definitely target, like I said, this area, 492. Then from there you could target right up here at 640, but that's pretty much a high target. This is the area that I've been targeting right for now. And Killarua, yeah, I did EVGO. I believe I did it at the very start of the stream. I'll put it in the timestamp. But I could go over it for you right now real quick. EVGO basically broke out, retested, and then there's a huge drop. I don't know if there's a catalyst or if there's any bad news or whatever, but there's selling pressure on it. It just needs to hold off that 874 area. So it's literally hanging on a thread. If it does not hold, then pretty much you could come back all the way down to $8.06 and retest this. And then if it doesn't hold, then you could literally go anywhere, you know? But pretty much this is a break or make area as of right now. So that's pretty much it for EVGO. Yeah, so this was it. EVGO, not AVGO. EVGO, so that's the one. It's the one that I charted for you on Twitter. Next one is ASO. ASO right now is just making higher highs. I don't see... Let me see if there's a harmonic pattern right here. I don't believe so, to be honest. Would this be valid? I don't think so. Yeah, I know.
What are you checking on, Maddie?
ASO, if there's a bearish harmonic. You see any bearish harmonic on the daily?
Yeah, I got an ABCD on the 15, and let's see what's up on the daily. No, nothing on the daily.
Nothing, right? Yeah. So as of right now, pretty much you just use your fib extensions. But it just has to keep making higher highs. Just keep in mind that there is a gap fill right here, but that's still a long way to go. Next area, so if it does for whatever reason come down, you would just need to keep holding that $42.80. Below $42.80, then your possible gap fill and a nice drop from there. TRIT, so
what I like about ASO, and I'm sure you've already moved on, is it's out of the Ikimoku cloud, and ASO is pretty bullish right now.
Yeah. Even the Bollinger Bands is still continuing to extend. So like the Bollinger Bands keep extending. So it still looks decent for now. All right, so TRIT, let me see. Possible divergence right here. But then you really have like a small island, nothing too big. Let me see if I could find some break or make areas at the very least. Yeah, this one has been beaten down like a lot. So it would need to hold $5.01. No bearish diversions. It looks like it's gone up 2% today. Just needs to hold that $5.01. Next target area you could definitely target is $6.03, give or take. Right about here. It's been support right here. Even tested this as a resistance. So 612 would be the next area that you could definitely target for TRIT. AIE, I can't really chart this one. Pretty much the only thing I could see is that there's a gap to fill to $3.37, which was also a support. So it was a support and a gap to fill at 337. Would literally need to hold $1.67, but that's a huge difference to 240. Not really something I could chart that well. You do have a divergence right here. And pretty much target area would be about 325 if there's a gap to fill. Well, there is a gap to fill, but if it does fill. And the last stock that I'm going to be reviewing for today would be AMD. So AMD, I had this charted. It broke out of the triangle. It started playing out, but then the divergence essentially started waning back to red. So as of right now, you're at an area where it has to start waning back up for it to confirm. We could possibly see a retest down here. But as of right now, personally, for myself, I would not get into it. Obviously not financial advice until it does make a decision. But as of right now, you're just waiting for this to start waning back down. But yeah, do you guys have anything else to add, or are we good for here?
I think we're good.
So yeah,
it is a hidden bearish, I guess, a little bit, right?
Bearish? No, there wouldn't be any.
I mean, sorry, hidden bullish. Sorry.
Yeah. So hidden bullish is there. AMD clearly has bullish diversion, but the issue is that instead of confirming, it started waning back down.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chad, I had that the wedge right here, the triangle, and then broke out. But the issue is that now it's starting to wane back down. So there's not really much that I could do until it starts waning back and then confirms the divergence. But as of right now, that's pretty much it. And check out Champ's merch, FTM hat, the Vibes hat. You guys can follow me on Twitter and subscribe to me on YouTube. And also Matt and Neutron's Twitters are down below. But that's it for today, and peace out, guys.
Peace out. Bye-bye. See ya.